So, this is just something that kind of bothered me. All these memories and my brain turning back on. My dumbass friend I keep calling Taco, he was also a Christian, and he was a spite brain, obviously severely emotionally stunted, just like all these people at this church is all emotionally stunted, because they think behaving like a 2-year-old is the superior psychology. Emotionally, I might just do a video emotionally stunted where I read that paper off and then link it, because, like, I'm tired of reading the damn thing. The guys are retarded, okay? It's part of the male loneliness epidemic, is there's a bunch of emotionally stunted, retarded men who are just babied, and they behave like babies, and women just don't respect them anymore. And that makes sense, because they're retarded. Spite brain, need to stick it to him. My friend Taco was an envy brain. And you gotta think, I'm trailer park trash. I had a ugly, fat girlfriend. At the time, she was my cuddle buddy. And she was also helping the church and trying to ruin my life. That was her end goal, was to just ruin my life. Because these people turn garbage out in massive droves. Garbage in, garbage out. But, he was jealous. And I didn't know that. I just thought he was an idiot, which is why I call him a dumbass, but he was actually malicious, which is behaving like you're an idiot is probably the best way of hiding malicious intent. And I think this church, these people, specifically Blondie, we're going to get to that. Like, to give you an idea, Taco broke my Arbiter toy. We had, like, this helmet that didn't come off, and he broke the helmet off. One time he broke my Xbox, and he would just break shit, and I thought he was just fucking stupid. And then, when he was schizophrenic, he was freaking out and screaming and was telling me he couldn't get voices out of his head. He keeps hearing these voices, and I was just like, okay, dude, what are they saying? And then he just goes on a tangent of every time he spitefully broke something of mine to teach me a lesson, to get back at me, because I said words he didn't like or I hurt his feelings. And then he was explaining to me he can't get women, and I was like, it's because you think like a 2-year-old. And then I beat his ass, like, because I realized I was nothing but nice to this guy, like, outside of the fact that I'm a straight talker, and I want to talk about that. If you think you are a man, then you can handle straight talk. When somebody is just being genuinely real with you, and they're not hurting, and they're going to hurt your feelings because they're telling you like it is, but these people practice sideways talk, where everything they come out is sideways, and it doesn't make any sense. They don't directly address you, because it's almost like they're terrified of your emotions, because they think you're a woman. One, it's offensive, okay? I'm not a woman, unlike everybody in this church, who are ultra feminine, okay? And somehow want to be recognized as men. So they do horrible shit, and they're like, look, I'm a man, I murdered somebody, and you're like, good job, retard. Like, he offended my feelings, and I got back at him. But the need to teach people a lesson is just an immature thing, and I don't, like, my father's had it his entire life, and I just, they're morons. But yeah, so anyways, I find out the entire time I was friends with Taco, not only was he shit-talking me behind my back, he was literally breaking, I'm a poor person, and he was breaking my shit, and the thing that would cause his head to explode is I'm engineerical, and I would fix it. So he would break it, I'd fix it, he would see it working, and he would lose his mind because he was supposed to be getting back at me, and it didn't work, and then he would just keep doing it. And he explained to me that I was making him crazy, that his behaviors are normal. It's normal to just go into other people's houses with malicious intent and break their shit. And I was just like, this is going to be a clear statement. This dude was pretty much jobless every time I knew him. When we went out, I paid for everything. I drove him around. I gave him counseling when he needed it. I literally bought him a Christmas one year. He didn't have any money for Christmas, and I literally bought him a Christmas one year. And then he explains to me the entire time he was knifing me in the back, because when I was nice to him, it made him feel bad, because He's an imbecile. And it made him feel like shit, so he had to get back at me. And whenever I did anything nice for him, he had to get back at me. He had to teach me a lesson. He had to teach me a lesson. He had to teach me a lesson. And I do the right thing. I'm a nice guy because of altruism. I am retarded. Okay? And I'm going to openly admit that. I am retarded. By the American standard. Altruism's one of those funny things. If you have a large amount of people who practice altruism, it's not retardation. It would be a culture norm, but in this normal culture in America, people practice spike brain, which is get back at that guy. He hurted my feelings, I think, like a 2-year-old. Why don't women like me? I remember Stu one time was like, a lot of women really like you, so the church is going to be working overtime murdering all of them, and I just shrugged. And I'm pretty sure the church probably got really tired of murdering women, because I remember one time I commented on this girl's profile and she asked me out, and then I literally got a message from Stu, like straight up Stu sent me a message. It was like, stop it, stop, we've murdered so many women. And it's just, okay, like, maybe you shouldn't be trying to control shit you can't control, and you can't control it. And this was the same shit with the lawyers, with them explaining to me, if you get a lawyer, we'll kill him. That's what happens. And you're just like, so somebody, you guys want, or believe your own delusion that you're in control so much that when somebody acts against your control, you murder them to demonstrate you're in control. I was like, does that not sound like stupidity to you? And I remember Stu like, shut up. I'm in control. Yes, you have a bunch of assholes willing to commit atrocities. Congratulations. You win. But what I'm getting at is, like, with Taco, he continuously would speak sideways no matter what. He couldn't be forthcoming. Everything was sideways with him, and I started getting tired of him, and eventually, we quit being friends because he just kept getting worse and worse. Similar to that Jose guy, and it's amazing how, like, when people start making bad decisions and you tell them they're bad decisions, how they just double down, triple down, quadruple down. And then things get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And they're like, this is what winning looks like. And you're like, okay. And then they lose. And then they're like, why did I lose? It's like, because you're a retard, dude. Like, I just, whatever. It pisses me off. Anywho, Blondie. I remember Blondie coming into Papa John's. And literally the day he hypnotized me to forget his name, he came in and was like, so there's this guy, and a lot of people secretly like him, and I hate him. I hate him, and I wished he was dead. Because he took everything from me. So I took everything from him. And I was like, is this that guy that reported your cult of baby raping lunatics that go around murdering people and human trafficking? And he was like, yes, he embarrassed us, and I was just, oh my god. And he was like, I hate him. And here's the thing, he was talking about me because I didn't remember at the time what I had done. So he literally was like, and this lady, she likes him, and I want her. And I was like, is this that same thing where you were telling me about that other girl you like because she had a bunch of followers, and you want that unconditional love you didn't get as a kid? Shut up! I'm not that. I'm totally different. He's the same. They're all groomed to be malignant narcissists. They all think the same way. They're just not capable of understanding their own emotions. I would argue, I'm starting to think it's the tetra-led brain because it disassociates you from your emotions, so you believe your emotions are coming from somewhere. So he's an imbecile. He doesn't know how he feels, even though he knows how he feels. But you're not going to explain that to him. He's too stupid to understand it. So he's like, and this is what's gonna happen. He's gonna recover. We poisoned him with heavy metals. He's gonna figure it out. He's gonna recover from the heavy metals, and then he's gonna go to court. And I was like, is this guy under one of those dumb contracts like you have me under, where I'm not allowed to have legal representation? Yeah, but he's gonna file. And I just turned and looked at him. I was like, does he know how to do any of that? And then he froze. And then he came back later and he walked back, and he was, do you know how to file a legal complaint? No, I'm poor. I've spent my entire life working. Oh no. Oh no, what? The guy I was talking about is supposed to file a legal complaint, and then I'm gonna go to court against him, and then we're gonna battle it out in court, and if he beats me in court and he goes to prison, I'm then going to give him the girlfriend that likes him, but he'll be in prison for being a pedophile. And I just turned and stared at him, and I was like, you remember a while back? And Blondie was like, what? I was, a while back, you were talking about, there's this, they basically do a Hunger Games at this church where they find a bunch of poor people and then promise them large sums of money if they do stupid shit. Like, I already mentioned that guy that ate that snail that had that parasite in it and it destroyed his brain. That's just what they do. They torture poor people and then promise them money. And then, obviously, the church doesn't pay out money, so when you get the money, they kill you. So it's kind of just a really fucked up game these people play. They're just really twisted and weird like that. But, anyways, Blondie starts explaining to me that he didn't know I didn't know how to go to court. And I'm going to call this and go, this is my friend Taco. He's lying. He knew. He rigged it. And I told him, I was like, if you're going to do those Hunger Games, you need to have that shit set up for somebody specific psychology and have them fucking develop as a person, think storyboarding. You want them to develop as a person and change and become something greater. And I started explaining this and then overcome the obstacle. When you give somebody an impossible task and then go, I'm going to give you a large sum of money, the task needs to be still completable within reason. But the task also needs to be tailor-fit to that individual. Okay, if you have an agoraphobic and they're terrified of leaving the house, for example, and I remember telling him this, I was like, they're terrified of leaving the house. You don't go, you need to take down the entire United States government, blow up foreign nations, and then nuke the Arctic. Because that fucker doesn't even leave the house. How the fuck are they even supposed to go outside to do that? And then Blondie stared at me and he was like, and I was like, you're an agoraphobic. We put $1 million across town and all you gotta do is leave your house. And you're looking at like an agoraphobic who hasn't left their house 20 and 30 years. Okay. Somebody absolutely terrified. And I was like, and I guarantee you there's a possibility they might not go get that money. And then Blondie was like staring at me. And he didn't say anything, and then he said he was smart and he understood people. He obviously doesn't understand me because I don't know how to go to court. Anyways, so then he literally twists sideways and then explains to me, I'm not giving you the rich wife because you're classist. You are. And I'm the victim. And I was just, oh my God. I was like, stop doing that. And he's, I'm the victim. I was like, dude, you sound like a fucking pussy right now. I'm not a pussy. I'm not. I just have to rig everything in my favor. And we got into this fight. And then he called Anal Eating Mummy God. And then I was like, so everything's rigged. And he's like, it's not rigged. We're just in control of everything. I was like, so everything's rigged. He's like, it's not rigged. Stop saying that. It's not rigged. And I was just, I don't fucking get it. Okay. I don't fucking get it. And then Blondie goes, what happened when you were supposed to get out of your contract is your fault. It's your fault. I was like, it's my fault? Yeah, because you made me promise I was going to let you out of your contract. And I was just, and is this dumb shit where you would have got killed if you let me out of my contract and you just don't have accountability and you just lie to people? I don't lie. My word is my bond. I did not lie. I was like, you just merely failed to tell the truth. And he was, shut up. I don't want to, do you guys ever realize how ridiculous you seem? Like, when you're trying to just constantly pretend to be superior, but then when somebody like me points out you fuck up, you keep talking sideways no matter what because you can't admit you made a mistake. And he was, I can't admit I made a mistake. And I was like, okay, whatever, dude. I was like, so you have this guy. He's supposed to file a complaint, go to court, take you on in a legal battle, even though I'm assuming he's poor like me. He has no training. His brain just recovered. He's probably moderately retarded and probably has neurological damage. You don't get neurological damage from heavy metals. And then he typed it into his phone, and then he might have neurological damage from heavy metals. I don't care. I don't care. And I was like, okay, great, wonderful, wonderful. Remember, I don't care is the go-to response to anybody that's emotionally stunted. It negates agency and stops them from being adults. So he's gonna scream, I don't care, a lot. And then he's like, this isn't rigged. This is a completely doable task. And I was like, Blondie, can I ask you something? Did you just assume this guy knew how to go to court because you wasted your childhood learning how to go to court and you don't actually even do that shit properly? There's just like a bunch of assholes that make sure when you file a complaint, it gets through and you go to court and everything's rigged in your favor because the church rigs everything in your favor and you're actually not really good at anything. I am good at things. I'm good at things. And then he just starts freaking out about how, and this is the thing, they want the external validation that attaboy they didn't get as a kid. And these guys are willing to murder and kill anybody to get that attaboy. Okay. So he's like, we can fix this. We can workshop it. All you gotta do is commit a crime. And I was like, okay. And then he's like, you gotta commit a federal crime. Well, he didn't say me. He said the guy. He was like, the guy, he just has to commit a federal crime and go to court. And I was like, so he'll just go to prison before he goes to prison. And he's like, it's only like 5 years. He'll go to prison for 5 years, but then he'll be out of his contract. And I was like, is this woman you're promising this guy like really fat? And he was like, yes. And I was like, she'll be dead of a heart attack by the time he gets out. And I was like, and he can't, and he was like, but he's gonna get money. He'll be in prison. He can't accept money. I was like, what is wrong with your fucking head, dude? And I started getting pissed at him because I was like, there is no way that you are this fucking dumb. Okay? There is no way in fucking hell that you are this fucking dumb. And I believe that it is a Christian practice, and I believe this entire thing wasn't just rigged. I think it was deliberately set up to be completely impossible for me to win at any level in it. Okay? Because he then starts trying to explain to me that he's smart when he's stupid. And then starts trying to explain to me he didn't mess all this up. He didn't mess all this up. And I was like, why can't this guy just have a lawyer? And he's just because it's against the rules. He's not allowed to have help of any kind. I was, okay, that guy's fucked. No, he's not fucked. The legal system is fair. I was like, it's designed so white people can stick it to black people. It's not designed so white people can stick it to black people. We don't need to change it. We don't need to change it. I understand it. I was like, because you spent your entire childhood learning something, because your brain is just so obsessed with sticking it to people, you can't think of anything else. I can think of other stuff. My theory, once again, is this is my friend Taco all over again. This is another emotionally stunted retard that came across me, an altruist, a man, a good person that does the right thing, and can't fucking handle it. And it makes them crazy, okay? Because in their brain, I'm stupid. In my brain, they're stupid because we are ideologically opposed. Blondie believes in causing suffering. Okay, that's literally his philosophy. And I would argue that just like how Taco pretended to be stupid and was malicious, I believe Blondie that entire time was pretending to be stupid but is actually malicious. Yeah. It is the most dangerous thing I have ever come across in my life as a psychoanalytical person, just perceiving that somebody is stupid when they are malicious. And I think it is just a Christian thing to pretend to be stupid when you're malicious. And I think the world might need to start looking at Christians in a completely different light through that regard. Yeah, just that. So if your friend is ever stupid, and they keep ruining shit and breaking things, and they keep fucking up, you might need to just radically accept that they are actually malicious and kick that person out of your life.